What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bilbrons and Dragons. I'm your host, Bilbron Bafflestone. So today I wanted to talk about GenCon 2022, which I just got back from a couple of weeks ago. And it was a hell of a good time, and I wanted to talk about it so that everyone knew exactly what went on there. It was my very first GenCon, and I had no idea it would be as cool as it was. I mean, I had an inkling, but it exceeded my expectations. So what was I doing at GenCon? I should first set the context, which starts 32 years ago, way back when I was in the Navy. And when you're in the Navy on a Spruance-class destroyer, about 350 people, you have a lot of downtime. You are at sea for weeks or months at a time, and you're working 6 on 6 off, or 12 on 12 off, and yeah, in your off time there's not much to do except play games. So I was part of a little gaming circle, and one of those guys in that circle was named Castor Waikoki. And we used to rotate DMing and such, but Castor was a great player, he was a good friend, and then we had a huge argument, and we never spoke to each other again, because you get transferred and then you never see people, and this was before the social media days, and yeah, anyway, we were on bad terms when we parted ways and never saw each other again, until about a year ago, when Castor reached out to me, and we made up, and we bonded once again over our mutual love of gaming and fantasy and nerdy stuff. Speaking of fantasy, Castor is an author. He wrote a couple of books called The Chronicles of Bagjarlian. I'll put the link right here. Pretty good stuff. Not your typical hero's journey. A lot of politicking and betrayal and surprises and things of that nature, so check it out. Anyway, so Castor reached out to me. He also reached out to Larry McLaughlin, a friend of ours from back in the day, and invited us out to stay with him during GenCon because he lives in Indianapolis. And so what an opportunity, right? Couldn't pass that up. So a couple weeks ago, headed out to Indianapolis, was met by Castor. We stayed at his place, so accommodations and such were pretty easy. He drove us around, he scheduled everything, so thanks, man. I appreciate you doing all the work. So yeah, that was the context, and I really appreciated this convention relative to comic book conventions, which is the other sort of convention that I go to. I go to the New York Comic Book Convention every year, because it had all of the things that you get at a comic book convention, but also added gaming. So first of all, it was at the convention center, and Indianapolis is a really nice town. We ate at a lot of cool restaurants there. I ate at Hooters for the first time, the infamous Hooters. And I have to say, pretty good stuff. They specialize in like wings and chicken fingers, and they have like 12 proprietary sauces, and out of those 12, like 9 of them were like, oh, that looks good, I want that. So yeah, but anyway, it had some good food. They had a great food truck scene there as well for the games and such, so that was pretty cool as well. Had a lot of really delicious treats, and it was the convention center right between the stadium, Lucas Oil Stadium, where the Colts play, and the baseball stadium where the Indians play. And in fact, a lot of the gaming took place in the football stadium. So I was literally playing games on the same stadium that Jonathan Taylor scores touchdowns. And you could look up and see all of the empty stands. It was pretty cool, I have to say. And the convention was just monstrous. They sold out all of the hotels nearby, and not only was gaming taking place in the convention center and taking place at the football field, but it was also taking place in like a lot of the hotels nearby. There was some stuff at Marriott, and there was others in by the Omni. I forget them all, but yeah, they were using their conference rooms for games as well. So there's just tons and tons of gaming. I mean, if you look at the events, there was just a bajillion different things that they had available for us to do. And Castor scheduled us for a few things. So when I think of comic book conventions, the things that I think of that I'm going to be doing there are 1, shopping, 2, people watching, because cosplay is like off the hook these days, and 3, attending panels and events and such, right? Talking about the characters that we know and love. And so we had all of those things plus gaming, at GenCon, and I'll talk about all of them in turn. Starting with the shopping, because that's pretty easy, right? They had rows and rows, like 30 rows of aisles of vendors, and there was all sorts of cool stuff to buy. Tons of cool dice and figures and miniatures and settings and books, and old books and old and new books combined. There was like a cool one that had old adventures and then the 5th edition translation, like in the same beautiful bound hardcover. Lots of toys, weapons, like real weapons, tons of apparel, because which I appreciated, because there's like an overlap between the gaming community and the goth community. So there were like a lot of corsets and beautiful dresses and amazing like leather stuff. I wish I could have bought so much of the leather stuff, but like, jackets were like $1,200 and pants were like $500. And so yeah, I don't know if I was ready to spend that much on look and fly. Although I did feel bad that I was dressed for comfort. I wish I'd known that it would have been a really cool chance to really glam out and wear some of my more garish stuff. Next year we might do cosplay. Well, I'll talk about cosplay in a minute. The shopping was cool, and I was able to collect a bunch of cards. And strategically, it's annoying to buy stuff and then have to carry it around. It would have been a lot better to have a room and then be able to drop stuff off, or be more strategic, buy all the stuff on like one day, or order through the cards and such. But yeah, the shopping was pretty cool. Then there was the people watching. And of course, that's like the main thing. You go to a convention to be surrounded by people of like mind, other nerds like myself who love Dungeons and Dragons and all that geeky stuff. And it was great, right? I normally live in New York, so I'm surrounded by all these glamorous people that look down on our little hobby. And so it was great to be in that atmosphere. And the people watching was amazing, right? The cosplay is insane. I'll put some pictures of the like the cosplay parade that they had, and some random people that I saw walking around that I thought was really impressive. There was tons of cute gamer girls around, which a guy like me always appreciates. And I was able to hang out with my friends and meet a few other people, including Scott, who was the one fan who approached me and recognized me and got an autograph, which I gotta say, it felt amazing. I have arrived. All of my friends were very impressed. So thanks for that, Scott. I put a little video of that because I immortalized it. I wasn't sure if anybody was going to believe me or not. So that was cool. We also met Vincent and Michelle on the last day, who were cool. I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, it was great to meet people, and also Castor's immediate friends. So it was me, Castor, Larry from the Navy, and then a couple of his close friends, Chris and his son Alan, being the main guys. But there were a couple others who we played DC Heroes with, which I guess I could talk about now, right? Because there was a gaming aspect of it. There was a ton of games that you could sign up for. So we ended up playing like 5e. There was this like midnight version that was in this dark dystopian type world, and they gave you these like extra feats along this kind of tree sort of system, and I thought it was really cool. Played some Pathfinder, which was kind of the same, kind of different. Played DC Heroes. I will say the gaming was a little disappointing, in large part because of the mask mandate. Oof, that sucked. A lot of my friends and a lot of random passerbys I could hear were like pretty upset with that and did not want to come again next year if the mask mandate was in place. Personally, I'm kind of the same mind. It was just so detrimental. It was lame. I mean, not only did it severely hamper people watching and take you out of immersion when looking at a lot of these cool costumes, it was just horrible for the gaming. Now, keeping in mind that these games are not optimized combat challenges, right? You're playing a system that you often don't even know that well. You're playing low-level characters. You're playing in a relatively short, contrived, environment or adventure, and so it's really more about the role playing, and that's so fun. I hadn't been around an actual table in forever, and it's just so much better because there's so many difficulties when you're trying to communicate with people online. In person, people tend to actually interrupt each other, and there's a give and take as somebody interrupts, and the person who's interrupted, has realized they've made their point and just kind of stops talking and lets the other guy take over, and things kind of flow naturally. Or of course, online, everybody's hypersensitive to interrupting people, so you have to wait a few seconds until someone's done talking, and then two people start talking at one time, and then they stop and apologize to each other, and you can't see facial expressions or body language or any of that, so communication's already at like 50% capacity or less. So it was a lot of fun, but the masks did definitely cut into all of that. But I had a good time playing those games. I had a good time playing my friend Castor's DC Heroes game back at his place amongst all of his friends. That was honestly one of my favorite gaming systems when I was a young man. We did an escape room, and that was pretty cool. I enjoyed the whole setting and living through it. In terms of solving escape rooms, you're going to be pretty much okay as long as you, 1, remember to look at every surface, 2, take note of any numbers that you encounter, and 3, do a little math. That's going to be enough to get you through most escape rooms. But it's a good time living through it, and so that was fun. And then we had the events. So I'm not really one that signs up too much for events and panels, although I feel like I would have done more had I realized that there were some. I mean, Castor was kind of setting our schedule and such, and I was letting him do that and wasn't really clued into just how many things were available. And so next year I'm going to definitely, and in future years, I'm going to definitely look through that more and maybe call out some events and panels and things of that nature that I might want to check out. We did make it to the dance at the end though, and that was cool. I was afraid that I was going to be dragging my friends to this thing that they hated, but they had a good time. Castor even went out and was dancing with me a bit, and I enjoyed dancing quite a bit. Goth dancing is kind of my thing these days, and I was hoping for a little bit of goth music because there were a few goths in the crowd, and like one song got played, definitely had a goth feel to it, and I was hoping for some good goth dancing. But nonetheless, it was kind of like a wedding style DJ, and I'm 52, so I'm old enough, having gone clubbing and coming up in the 90s. So yeah, there were some songs for me on this wedding playlist. I danced to In Excess, Need You Tonight, and Yeah, Situation, and Bizarre Love Triangle by New Order, amongst a few others. So yeah, that was a good time. It did evolve into some interesting line dancing. A little weird to me, but it actually seemed pretty cool, I guess, with all the people getting into it and knowing the moves and such. It was all ages, and so it was definitely cool to see all the little kids dancing with their parents and such. So good times. That event was cool, and I would like to attend more events in future years. So yeah, that's pretty much how things went for me at GenCon. It was 4 days. Went every day, got there early in the morning, and stayed late pretty much every night. Had some good eating, had some good shopping, had some good gaming, had some good people watching, and I can't wait to do it again next year. So let me know what you think in the comments. Feel free to let me know about your experiences at GenCon 2022 or other years, and whether you plan on going next year. Maybe we can arrange for a little something. That would be fun, right? Little Bilbrons and Dragons get together. In any case, thanks so much for watching. This has been Bilbrons and Dragons. I'm your host, Bilbron Bafflestone. See you next time.